new watch, new babe.
TMG fam, bro. I am like beyond, I don't know, what would you say, beyond belief? Dr. Seuss, bro. Dr. Seuss. Now let me be honest with you, completely honest, because I wanted to walk into this clear mind and get the information the same time you guys get it, or some of y'all may be up on it already, but you're about to watch me get the information. You know what I mean? Like fresh out. Queen came to me yesterday or the day before yesterday. I don't know what it is, man. You know how sometimes you hear stuff, but you don't hear it. You be listening, she be talking. I was listening, but I wasn't really listening. I was in and out of the conversation, right? So she was like, are they legitimately trying to cancel Dr. Seuss? I was like, Dr. who? Dr. Seuss? Who? She said Dr. Seuss. The children's book, Dr. Seuss. Green Eggs and Ham, Dr. Seuss. Sam I Am, Dr. Seuss. She said, yeah. I said, nah. And kept it moving. To have this pop up on my feed, and it's really be a thing, bro. Like no cap, no lie. This is really a thing going on. So I gotta hear this along with everything else he talking about. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna get to the bottom of this, bro. Like, if it's warranted, okay, cool. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But y'all is he still even making books? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So y'all really digging deep into the past like that? So before I make judgment, we're gonna check it out and then we'll form my opinion from there. But I just thought it was crazy. So we're gonna check out some news. Apparently he's gonna talk about The Rock. The other thing I heard The Rock talking about, he's thinking about running for president. So that'll be interesting to hear about. Dr. Seuss canceled, DeFranco, LeMaire, and more. So we're gonna get a whole bunch, man. So shout outs to y'all. This channel where I'm getting the news from is Philip DeFranco. All right, let's check it out.
So, two quick important updates at the top of today's show. One, if you didn't see yesterday's show, that is likely because YouTube suppressed it, didn't pop it and recommend it for you because at some point it got suppressed. It's one of the unfortunate things about covering the type of news that I opened with yesterday's show. Those kind of videos get pushed down because it is a mature matter, but it doesn't take away from it.
Glad we ain't the only one that suffered through that. Even the big YouTubers have to deal with that, bro.
It's important, so after today's show, definitely check it out. Two, I'm gonna try my best so you don't even feel it. That's a weird thing to say. But for the next 1 to 2.5 months, I'm gonna be extremely overloaded. We're moving from this studio to a new place that my offer has been accepted. I'm very excited about it. I've been busting my butt trying to find a place over the last 2 months so we didn't just kind of get kicked out onto the street. Well, I'm gonna try my best to make sure it does not interfere with the show. I just want to kind of give you that heads up of we're entering rocky territory for the next 2 months. So if there ends up being a day where there is not a show where there should be, don't think Phil died. Just know that that's a possibility. And if you really want to cover your bases, text me at my number right here. Ooh. Among other things, I always text out important updates with that number. But with that said, welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. Hit that like button, otherwise it will absolutely assault your throat. And let's just jump into the news of the day so you can get back to yours. And the first thing up today, let's talk about why people are saying that Dr. Seuss is being canceled. Because when I first saw the headlines, I was like, did he come out with a new book? Was the book like 1 canceling, 2 canceling, 3 canceling, 4? If your mother has an OnlyFans, she's not a whore. Because what a woman does with her body should only matter to her, even if she's naked in the snow and it makes her go brr. Side note, sex work is real work, and if you attack sex workers...
He could have left that out. I know he rehearsed that all day. He could have left that out.
It says more about you than them. Boom. But the story in question is about 6 Dr. Seuss books because they will no longer be published because they contain what has been perceived as racist stereotypes and insensitive imagery. With the late author's company, Seuss Enterprises, announcing this move this morning, saying the books, quote, portray people in ways that are hurtful and wrong, and adding, ceasing sales of these books is only part of our commitment and our broader plan to ensure Dr. Seuss Enterprises catalog represents and supports all communities and families. With the company telling the Associated Press that this decision was made last year after months of feedback from audiences, teachers, and other specialists in the academic field. But
okay, all right. So it seems like this wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. First and foremost, okay. I still don't know what the images look like, or you know what I'm saying, what caused them to do it. But to hear they're getting it from teachers and from different people in the communities and different things like that, I'm more inclined to say, okay, this isn't just some random, like we see on social media where people go in an uproar. This whole cancel culture thing is getting out of control. So imagine when I hear that, I automatically get on the defensive side because it is getting out of control with this cancel culture. So I'm not always, poised to just jump right in and agree with everybody. I have to hear the facts. So let's keep going.
It is also worth noting that this comes a week after a school district in Virginia made headlines for allegedly banning Dr. Seuss books. Though, I will note that district eventually clarified that it was not banning the books. Instead, saying that it was actually discouraging the connection between Seuss and Read Across America Day, which falls on the author's birthday, which is today. Though, I do want to note, this decision to move away from Dr. Seuss is not actually an uncommon move. We've actually seen school districts across the country having done the same. In fact, the National Education Association, which founded Read Across America Day and deliberately aligned it with Dr. Seuss's birthday, they've actually been de-emphasizing Seuss for years now and encouraging a more diverse reading list for kids. And with this story, I'll close it with two things. One, if you're wondering what kind of things that people took issue with in Dr. Seuss's books, you want a deep dive. A link to an interesting study down below that looked at many examples of what appear to be characters based on racial stereotypes. For instance, in The Cat's Quizzer, the study says the Japanese character is referred to as a Japanese, has a bright yellow face, and is standing on what appears to be Mount Fuji. As well as If I Ran the Zoo, the Asian characters carry a white male over their heads with the text below them describing them as helpers who all wear their eyes at a slant from countries no one can spell. But again, just a few examples, you can click the link down below. And two, if there are any publishers out there that would like to publish my...
I respect it. I can't do nothing but respect it. You know what I'm saying? And if someone of that culture tells you, yo, that's offensive, who are we to say, no, it's not? You can't tell nobody what to take offense to. And if that's offensive to them and their culture, bro, then you have to respect that. So yeah, you can't be mad at this, fam.
My series of adult sing-song rhyming books, Phil on a Hill, contact me. That sounds like a lot of fun. Then, in celebrity news, I hope you are ready for the wave of celebrities in politics. Obviously, yes, we just went...
This is what we were afraid of happening. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. Anybody has the right to go forward. But I don't think a lot of people's intentions now is in the right. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the right intentions in going up for the presidency. This is now turning into a popularity contest, and people know their brands or whatever can get bigger, or, they can gain more notoriety. They can gain all this power. It's not for the right reasons, man. And this is what people should have been afraid of. You know what I mean? Like, half of these celebrities can't deal with paparazzi, let alone what comes with being the president of the United States, bro. A lot comes with that. So I hope these people aren't really just taking this for granted. And unfortunately, a lot of these people are, man. They just playing with this.
From Donald Trump, a reality star being president, but I do not think that is the end of it. Though, I will say, Ukraine has every other country beat as far as celebrity president. Right? President Zelensky of Ukraine, if you do not remember, played a guy who became president on TV before actually doing so. Which, actually, funny enough, there is a similar comparison to be made in America now. Right? As the years have gone on, there's been more and more talk of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson maybe running for president or some office. And, funny enough, his new show, Young Rock, it starts with the premise that it's in the future and he's running for president, talking about his childhood. Which, hey, maybe I'm completely wrong and crazy here, but it really does feel like the beginning of planting seeds for a run in the future. By that point, there's going to be nothing else for him to win or succeed in. He's not the only one. You have Will Smith in the news. He's actually long spoken about potentially getting into politics. Back in 2015, telling The Hollywood Reporter, as I look at the political landscape, I think there might be a...
Now, how would y'all feel? And I may not watch this whole video, but how do y'all feel? Will Smith or The Rock? Where do y'all lean? If that was who was running for office right now, how do y'all feel? I feel like I don't know enough about The Rock, but I know more about Will Smith. Now, that shouldn't be a detriment to The Rock, but I know from Will Smith, he has that drive, that, you know what I'm saying? That if I'm going to get in this, I'm going to do it to the utmost of my ability. I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna submerge myself in it. I'm gonna take it serious. When have you known Will Smith not to take something very seriously? And you know what I'm saying? Just look at his career. Listen to the way he talks about his career. You ever heard some of those videos where he talks about, being willing to die for what he truly believes in. You know what I'm saying? And he used the analogy of getting on like a treadmill. And if I gotta reach this goal, then I'm gonna die trying to reach this goal. That's how bad I want. You know what I'm saying? He's always come off to me as a person that doesn't lack focus. You know what I'm saying? He is locked into the task at hand. So I would feel like if I had to choose between a route, which that was just feeding into what we're talking about now.
A future out there for me. They might need me out there. This is the first time I've been incensed to a level that I can't sleep. And since then, he's done more and more to be a part of the political conversations that are happening. He has a new docuseries coming out, Amend, The Fight for America. And actually yesterday he made headlines because while promoting this docuseries with Pod Save America, he was asked what made him consider running for political office or what prevented him from doing so. And he said,
I think for now, I'm gonna let that office get cleaned up a little bit, and then I'll
get the deep clean and the vaccination.
Yeah, and then I'll consider that at some point down the line.
So with that clip getting spread around, people sharing his other quotes from the past about politics, people started once again talking about celebrities in politics. And I will say, I think regarding that debate, I think we've gotten past the point of people are going to learn their lesson. That Donald Trump left such a bad taste in so many American mouths that we're not going to see celebrity politicians. I do not find that to be true. Because two of the most important...
I agree. Again, I agree. You know what I'm saying? That might have left a bad taste, but I don't think this is going to be the end of it, bro. It isn't. Because if you're sitting right there now, you're watching the screen and you're saying, we don't need another darn celebrity, or we don't need people, anybody, just think. You got to think, go back to your childhood when you were in school, elementary school, middle school. They told you could be exactly what you want to be. So now when we get here, why do we say now we have to restrict it to this select few people? You know what I'm saying? So you have I have mixed emotions about it, bro. But anybody who gets in that office, man, I just hold you to that standard, and you should do that job. You know what I'm saying? You should really take that seriously. This cannot be just some grandiose, grandstanding, you being on stage and you just feeling like this is the ultimate platform for you to be on. No, don't play with us like that.
Things when you're running for office, likability, and how many people even know your name. Like, think about the celebrities that you like, whether it be Will Smith, whether it be The Rock. What do you actually know about them, right? It's something that has been known in politics for the longest time. One of the most important things for a voter is, do I feel like I could sit down and have a beer with this person? As long as that's true, nothing's changing. If anything, it's gonna lean that way more. Also, this feels like the opportune time and place to mention this. I have been listed in a few places as a potential contender to run for mayor in 2022. And I want to make clear right here, right now, that was a joke, unless...
We're going to skip that. But yeah, man, that's crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? That could possibly be the case now, man. So I think what's going to end up ultimately happening is that people, they're going to start saying, okay, you're going to have served this amount of time in office at one of these positions. You know what I'm saying? They're going to start having criteria for you to be able to run for president. I think is what we're going to end up seeing eventually.
This tattoo. You get this video to 200,000 likes, I've run for political office. What? Actually, but Tattoo is the latest generation portable blender that is 5 times more powerful than its predecessor. It is cordless and USB rechargeable. It's as powerful as a big blender, but you can take this anywhere and blend on the go. You know, I've been opening up a lot more lately because a streaming platform decided to celebrate Women's History Month by using a controversial term that spells women with an... And then, let's talk about this. I don't know if you're aware, March is Women's History Month, and one of the first things that many people saw for Women's History Month was Twitch apologizing. And this because a streaming platform decided to celebrate Women's History Month by using a controversial term that spells women with an X. Which, I will say, if you're anything like me, that was the first time I saw women spelled that way. So, let's break this down. In a shared blog...
Me too.
blog post yesterday, we saw Twitch using the spelling exclusively while announcing the Twitch Women's Alliance, which is a new community to help push forward the visibility and growth of women creators on Twitch. Now, if you're wondering, that spelling was originally created because woman includes man, and with that, it was meant to avoid what they saw as perceived sexism, with it also reportedly being meant to be more inclusive of transgender women and non-binary people. However, that has actually been criticized for implying that trans women are not women, or with the criticism being that this implies that trans women need their own word if they're to be considered real women. And
I got a headache. I don't know which way is up anymore. Oh my gosh, bro. Oh, can we just get back to this is this and that is that and this is the end of everything that is up? I'm getting a headache, bro. You don't really, I'm confused. Like, I feel sorry for anybody growing up in these times, man. Things are so confusing nowadays.
on top of that, you also have people saying it's just unnecessary and confusing. And so if it's not already clear to you, you had a lot of people very annoyed, though, for greatly different reasons. Right? You had people saying that Twitch was just virtue signaling here, but also on the other end, you had people saying that they were transphobic. And ultimately, this resulted in Twitch apologizing and reverting back to the normal spelling, and adding that they originally wanted to use a word that acknowledges the shortcoming of gender binary language, and noting our good intentions don't always equate to positive impact, but we're committed to growing from these experiences, doing better, and ensuring we're inclusive to all. Also, if I can add a small thing to this story, sometimes, if not almost always, the best way to figure out is this the right way to say this is to ask the person that it is about, that it describes. For example, did you know that according to the people that it is meant to describe being polled, the majority of Latinos do not want to be described as Latinx? Granted, there are actually going to be a number of people that do. The opinions might change over time based off of how it's used, but hopefully the understanding that we can get from a situation like this, other than kind of like dunking on people that maybe did something that wasn't the right thing, is that we could all probably benefit by asking more questions and shutting the fuck up. At least, that's the lesson I'm going to try and take away from this story. Then, oh boy, let's talk about this lawsuit out of Texas, right? Last week, we talked about a $1 billion lawsuit being filed against the Texas utility company Griddy. This for charging customers sky-high electric bills for using power during last month's snowstorm. That because Griddy's prices are connected to the wholesale price of electricity in Texas, and usually that's supposed to mean low prices for customers, but as demand surged, so did electric bills. But now what we're seeing is Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filing another lawsuit against the company for similar reasons, with the lawsuit claiming that Griddy downplayed the risk of fluctuating energy prices, with it also noting that a 2019 consumer alert from the Better Business Bureau warned that the use of the term wholesale should not be used unless a business actually owns and operates or directly and completely controls a wholesale or distribution facility which primarily sells products to retailers for resale, which was not the case with Griddy. And on top of that, the lawsuit even says that Griddy auto-charged bills straight from people's checking accounts, with that claim also being...
Hold up. I know if a lot of y'all like me, that would piss you off, that you just auto charge this without, oh, bro, if you want...
backed up by customer testimonies to a number of media outlets, who have noted that in just days, hundreds or even thousands of dollars vanished from their bank accounts. And for many, that also set off a cascade of overdraft fees and missed payments for other bills. Now, no surprise here. In response, a spokesperson for Griddy said that the company does not agree with the claim.
Which in return just sets off a whole domino effect, because then it starts affecting your credit because you just missed payments, or you got like, it's so much wrong with that, bro. Yes, I would be filing a lawsuit.
So it is very likely that Griddy will try to defend themselves, at least in part, by noting that during the storm, it actually encouraged its customers to drop them and switch companies. And then let's talk about voting and voting.
Did he just say during the storm though? I'm worried about surviving right now. Who's able to access something and be able to switch out? Man, oh my gosh.
Voting rights, because behind the scenes of the people that are pushing the big lie that the election was stolen, you have a number of people from a certain party that are fighting the real fight, in that if too many people vote, we almost always lose. And that may be the reason that we're seeing Republicans in the Georgia House passing a sweeping bill yesterday that would massively roll back voting access in the state. The bill, which was proposed by Republicans who want to impose new restrictions after losing the election, was passed 97 to 72 along party lines. And if signed into law, among other things, the legislation would require a photo ID for absentee voting, cut the amount of time voters have to request an absentee ballot, restrict ballot drop box locations to inside early voting locations, shorten Georgia's runoff election period, impose more strict regulations on provisional ballots, prevent the governments from mailing out unsolicited absentee ballot applications to registered voters, ban nonprofit organizations from helping fund elections, almost entirely cut early voting buses that are key to transporting people to the polls, prohibit food and drinks from being distributed to voters waiting in long lines, and finally limiting early voting hours on the weekends. And
Are you serious? Stop people receiving food in line while they're waiting in long lines? Are you serious, man? Now, I'm not going to take his word. I'm going to have to take a step further and do my own due diligence and look that up. But if this is the case, bro, this is a sad day for our country, bro. Sad day.
Actually, that last part is one of the most controversial provisions. And that is because the Get Out the Vote campaign, known as Souls to the Polls, is widely used by black churches. That initiative has been credited with mobilizing black voters all over the country since the Jim Crow era, but this proposed law would limit events to just one Sunday during the early voting period, which they would, of course, also cut short. Now, Republicans who have pushed for the bill argue that it is necessary to restore public confidence in Georgia's elections and help prevent fraud. But to that, you have Democrats, voting rights organizations, and protesters who gathered out in front of the Capitol to demonstrate against this bill have pointed out that numerous top Republican officials, including Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, have said time and time again there was no evidence of fraud in the 2020.
Thank you. No, like, bro, this is getting ridiculous, bro. This is scary. This is getting scary. If you're not paying attention to what's going on around you, bro, sit up, pay attention. You snoozing.
Elections. And if anything, it was Republicans that hurt public trust in the state's elections by repeating Donald Trump's false claims about election fraud. Even though, as the Atlanta Journal-Constitution notes, legislative Republicans who supported Trump's claims have not contested the results of their own General Assembly elections. And so in part, that's why you have people arguing this is just a very transparent attempt to drive down voter turnout and suppress voters, particularly black voters. And without that exceptional turnout from black voters, Republicans would most likely still control the Senate. Now, as far as what happens next, the bill will be heading to the state Senate, which is also Republican controlled and already considering its own elections bill that would end no excuse absentee voting, among other things. And then, of course, it goes to Brian Kemp, who we all know is very sympathetic to voter suppression. But really notably here, this is just one focal point on a much bigger issue. This isn't the only election bill that's being proposed in state capitals around the country. In fact, according to the Brennan Center for Justice, legislators in 43 states are considering more than 250 bills that would create impediments to voting. But ultimately, that is where we are with this story now, and we're gonna have to wait and see what comes of all of this. And that is where I'm going to end.
Yo, pay attention, people. That's all I can say, man, is pay attention, bro. Like, I would have thought they would have been happy for voter turnout. You know, more and more people are getting involved, paying attention to what's going on. We're watching, we're alert. And you know what I'm saying? Everybody is making their own educated decision on who they want to vote for. I thought the ultimate goal was to get people out to vote, participate, views, have their own views, their opinions. I thought this was like where now we go from having a great turnout, getting more of the younger people involved. You know what I'm saying? Teaching, letting people know to exercise their right to vote. Like, to this? Come on, man. Like, 5 steps forward, 10 steps back. Like, it's crazy. We got to figure it out, man. You know what I'm saying? We got to figure it out. We got to continue to work together. We got to continue to erase this line of division, man, and everybody come together and get this thing right. It's crazy. Y'all let me know what y'all think of this video, man. Very informative. Shout outs to DeFranco, man. It's your boy L. To the next reaction of my piece. Y'all stay solid. Hey.